Okay, hi Dylan. This is lesson 4 in the Numbers and Operations and Algebraic Thinking book that you have. Excuse me. So if you don't have the book open, go ahead and pause the video and go grab the book and open up to page 16. This is graphing patterns. So this is a lot about coordinate planes and ordered pairs and the x and y coordinate of a coordinate plane or coordinate grid, sometimes it's called. I know you've worked with these before, but just to do a quick review. So for a coordinate plane, now there are 4 quadrants, but for 4th grade and for 5th grade, you're basically only going to be working in what we call quadrant 1. Now, obviously, you can see that this graph has 2 lines that continue. This is called the x-axis, and this line right here going up and down is called the y-axis. Now, when these 2 lines intersect in a perpendicular, meaning this is a right angle, you have, and they're aligned, so it keeps going, you have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. We're only going to be working in quadrant 1 today, and basically of all 5th grade, you're only working in quadrant 1, but it's good to know that there are 4 quadrants. These right here, these lines are actually number lines, correct? Yes. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, that makes right here on the line 0. And then if you were to keep going to the left on this number line, what comes before 0, -1, -2, and so on down the number line. And then the y-axis, the line that goes up and down or vertical, same thing. Here's 1, 2, I'm going to put it on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and continues on. And then that makes this right here, this point of origin is what we call it, 0 for the y-axis also. So what comes before 0? -1, -2, -3, and so on. For today, we're only going to be working in quadrant 1, like I said. And an ordered pair are the numbers that you follow in order to figure out where that point is on your coordinate plane. So your ordered pairs may look something like this. Parentheses, 2, 4, parentheses. And when you see an ordered pair or 2 numbers like this, you know that the first one's always going to be x and the second one's always going to be y, which means you're going to go over 2 and up 4, make a point, and then label that point with your ordered pair 2, 4 in parentheses. And I'm going to show you a little bit closer once we get to the actual work of exactly where you put that, because a lot of people tend to make mistakes. So let's go ahead and read through this. It says, you can show the relationship between patterns on a coordinate plane. You can graph the values as ordered pairs. An ordered pair, parentheses, x, y, parentheses, is a pair of numbers used to locate a point on a coordinate grid. The first number of the ordered pair is the x coordinate. It tells the distance from 0 along the horizontal number line. The second number of the ordered pair is the y coordinate. It tells the distance from 0 along the vertical number line. Find the corresponding terms in 2 patterns below. Write and graph the first 3 ordered pairs. How are the terms in the 2 patterns related? Pattern 1 is 0, 3, 6, 9, 12. Pattern 2 is 0, 6, 12, 18, 24. In the number patterns, the first number in each pattern forms the first ordered pair, 0, 0. The second number in each pattern forms the second ordered pair, 3, 6. And the third number in each pattern forms a third ordered pair, 6, 12. Graph 0, 0, place a 0 on the graph, place a point at 0 on the graph. So for 0, 0, and what I just read and what it meant was 0, 0. So you have 0, 0 in parentheses, and that's your first ordered pair. And then your second ordered pair is 3, 6. So 3, 6, And then your third ordered pair is 6, comma 12. Okay, so then if you look down at this graph right here, that 0, 0 is labeled. So it's that point of origin for both the x and the y coordinate. So you place your 0, so you put your point exactly at 0, 0, and then you label it. And when I say label it, that means you actually write the ordered pair next to the point. The second one is 3, 6. So I go over 3, up 6. And you see where that point is. It's exactly where those two lines intersect. It's not inside the square. It's on the exact part or exact point where those two lines intersect. And then I go ahead and label it with the ordered pair numbers. And then the next one was 6, 12. So I go over 6, up 12. And I put that point exactly where those two lines intersect, 6, 12. The terms in pattern 2, the y coordinates, are 2 times the value of the corresponding terms of pattern 1, the x coordinate. So that makes sense, right? So you have 0, 0, which you don't really need to worry about that one, but 3, 6. So 2 times 3 equals 6, and 6, 12. 2 times 6 equals 12. And then if you continue to look on the pattern, 9 and 18. 2 times 9 equals 18. So this part right here where it says the terms in pattern 2 are 2 times the value of the corresponding terms in pattern 1. So if I take pattern 1 and I multiply it by 2, I get pattern 2. How would you graph the ordered pair 2, 4 on a coordinate grid? And that's the one we actually just practiced here. Okay, so the answer would be to go left on x-axis 2 places, and then up on the y-axis 4 places. And then you would label 2, comma 4. All right, let's see how you're going to practice this. Use the rule given below for each number pattern. Complete each pattern, then graph the ordered pairs on the coordinate grid. How are the terms in the two patterns related? Step 1, use the rule to complete the number pattern to find the x coordinates. Add 1 to find the next number in the pattern. So if you look at the pattern, it says 0, 1, 2, and then you obviously know that the next one is going to be 3. Step 2, use the rule to complete the number pattern to find the y coordinates. Find the next, it says add 3. Find the next number in the pattern. So this was like the rule, and then this is the pattern, 0, 3, 6. So to find, or they found this rule by finding the difference between each of the terms in the sequence. So to find the difference between each of the terms in the sequence, we say, well, what's the difference? How do I get from 0 to 3? I add 3. And how do I get from 3 to 6? I add 3. So that rule is true for all of the terms in this pattern. So 6 plus 3 is 9. So then you're going to write the ordered pairs x and y using the corresponding terms from each pattern. So you're going to match up the first term from the x and the y, or pattern 1 and pattern 2, and then match up the second term, and then the third term, and then the fourth term. So our ordered pairs are 0, 0, 1, 3, 2, 6, and 3 and 9. The ordered pairs are 0, 0, 1, 3, 2, 6, 3, and 9. So then we're going to go ahead and graph those on this coordinate grid. So we're going to start at 0, move right as many spaces as the first number in the ordered pair tells you. Then move up as many spaces as the second number tells you. So we're going to go ahead and graph those. The first one is 0, 0. So I'm going to graph that and label it 0, 0. Then I have 1, 3. Then 2, 6. Then 3, 9. And you notice it does make a straight line. And what this is called is a, well, when we do this, it's going to be called a linear equation. Linear, you hear the word line in it. And that just means that if I do one thing to X, I'm gonna get Y that corresponds to it every time. So you compare the terms to see how they are related. So at Y equals X times 3. Does that make sense? So if I have here's my pattern for, what is that, X? And here's my pattern for Y, 0, 3, 6, and 9. So if I plug these numbers in, will the equation be true? So if I plug in 0 here and 0 here, does that make this equation true? 0 equals 0 times 3. It does. So then I'm going to plug in, this is my Y, this is my X, and you see this is just staying the same. This is my constant. So 3 times 1 equals 3. Yes, that works. This is my Y, this is my X, Y and X, Y and X. This is my Y, and this is my X, Y and X. And does that hold true? 6 equals 2 times 3. Yes, it does. And then my last one, Y and X, here's my Y, here's my X, 3. This is my constant, 3. So 3 times 3 equals 9. Yes, it does. So the value of the Y coordinate is 3 times the value of the X coordinate. So this equation right here, Y equals 3 times, X times 3 is called a linear equation. That means that whatever I do to whatever I plug in here, this equation has to be true. And if I continue to do it, it's gonna continue to form this straight line on my coordinate grid. So like if you wanted to go one step further and say my X was 4, 4 times 3 equals 12. So my ordered pair would be 4 and 12. Oops, can't see that. My ordered pair would be 4 and 12, or the next ordered pair would be 4 and 12. Okay, so the work you're gonna do on your own for this work, I'll go through a few of these for you. How can you use an ordered pair, X and Y, to locate a point on a coordinate grid? How can you use an ordered pair, X and Y, to locate a point on a coordinate grid? So X is the horizontal line, Y is the vertical line. So how can you use that ordered pair to locate a point on a coordinate grid? So go over as many spaces as the X coordinate and up as many spaces as Y coordinate. All right, so for questions 2 through 5, complete each pattern, then graph the ordered pairs on the coordinate grid. How are the terms in the two patterns related? That's how you're gonna figure out like the linear equation we were talking about before. So you just complete each pattern. They already give you the rule. They actually give you the first two terms. So I add 2 to 0, get 2. Add 2 to 2 and get 4. Add 2 to 4 and get 6, and then 8. And then you're adding 4 to the Y coordinate. So 0 plus 4 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 4 is 12, 12 plus 4 is 16. Write the ordered pairs. We have 0, 0, 2, 4, 4, 8, 6, 12, 8, and 16. And then you'll graph those on there. Don't forget that where you're putting the point is where the two lines intersect. And then when it says graph, it does not say label in the directions, but it's always smart to go ahead and label your ordered pairs wherever your points are. For example, I'll label this one 2 and 4. So go over 2, up 4, put your point and label it 2, 4 in parentheses. And you notice these number lines go by 2, which is fine because all of your ordered pairs are even. And then how are the corresponding terms X and Y of the pattern related? So if you look at these numbers, 0, 0, 2, 4, 4, 8, 6, 12, 8, 16, look at how those two numbers are related. So what would I have to do to X to get Y? So Y equals what would you do to x to get y? So x plus 2, does that work? So 2 plus 2 equals 4, that works. But does 4 plus 2 equal 8? No. So 2 times 2 equals 4. 2 times 4 equals 8. So it's x times 2 equals y. And you could flip that around and write x times, this is why I don't like multiplication signs, times 2 equals y. You could flip that around to do it like that. All right, so you are going to continue graphing those and label them, and then this, it's kind of the same thing over here, but you won't have to graph them for 6 and 7, but then these you're gonna fill in this chart showing, figuring out what the pattern here is for the y's. You're going to graph and label and then answer how they're related. Thinking about the so like how do you get from 1 to 10, and then 2 to whatever this is, and so on.